Okay, so my name's Morgan. I am a star director. I live in Colorado. I'm originally from Nebraska. And just a little bit here about how I started with Scentsy. I joined in 2016. I joined under my mom originally. She has since then retired from the business. But I originally joined under her, and the only reason I joined was because she would not leave me alone about it, and she would not stop begging me to join. So I ended up joining. And it is the best decision that I've ever made, honestly. My team and I promoted to director in July of last year, and then we promoted to star director last month, which is super exciting. I have been on 4 incentive trips with Scentsy, so the cruise to Europe, Mexico this past January, Florida in June, and then I will be going to Bermuda next summer, so I'm super excited about that. Scentsy has done some amazing things for me in my life. I have just actually quit one of my part-time jobs to do more Scentsy, which is awesome. It's allowed me to not work full-time and do this job, which is amazing. So there's tons of opportunities out there with Scentsy. It's a really great thing that's happened for me. I know for a lot of other people as well. But that's just a little bit of background about me and my journey. So we can go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to talk about follow-ups, and hopefully I think I've got this topic under control. I've presented on follow-ups a few times, so I consider myself to be a pro now, maybe. But why do we want to follow up? So these are just a few statistics that I found previously when researching follow-ups and things like that. But 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups or more after the original contact. And I always tell my team this, you guys, that it's not always going to happen on that first time that you contact someone. You're going to have to follow up with them more than one time. And if you can see in this little chart too, this little pie chart, how quickly people give up, 44% of salespeople give up after one no. If they hear no one time, they give up on contacting that person. And then you can see 22% give up after 2, 14 give up after 3, 12 give up after 4, and 8% give up after 5. However, I'm sorry, you guys, I know I talk really, really fast when I'm on video, but it's going to take an average of 6 to 8 times of talking to someone. And I think I heard this statistic somewhere in some other Scentsy training video, that it's going to take 6 to 8 times of contacting someone before you're going to get that yes. And what's happening during this 6 to 8 times that you're contacting someone is you're building trust with this person. It's not just about getting commission. It's not about just getting a sale. You really want to build that person's trust so that you can then recommend specific products to them. They don't feel like they're just a number to you. They feel like you know them. They feel like you are being personal with them. And that is a huge thing with follow-ups too. And one of my biggest tips is to be personal. If you are using Maven or Ami, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right now, but I still call it Maven. You know, change up those templates in there. Don't just use the preloaded templates. That's great if you honestly have no idea where to start. That's perfect. Do that. Start with that. But change those up. Get personal with people. You really want to make sure that you are sounding like you and not sounding like someone else when you're following up. And also, I found this statistic, and I don't know if this is still correct, but 70% of Scentsy customers never purchase anything after their initial order, which is just crazy to me. That's a big statistic. So think about how much you could increase your PRV and your GWV if you just followed up with those people. And I also found a cool statistic. It's kind of long, so bear with me, but it's from a guy named Thomas Smith, and he wrote a book called Successful Advertising. And so this is just advertising in general, not just with Scentsy, but it fits for direct sales, it fits for Scentsy. The first time that people look at an ad, they don't see it. The second time, they don't notice it. The third time, they're aware that it is there. So this can go, if you're posting about a product or things like this, by the third time, people are starting to see that it's there. The fourth time, they have a fleeting sense that they've seen it before. The fifth time, they actually read what it is. The sixth time, they thumb their nose at it. The seventh time, they get a little irritated with it. The eighth time, they think, here's that ad again. The ninth time, they wonder if they're missing out on something. The 10th time, they ask their friends or their neighbors if they've tried it. The 11th time, they wonder how the company is paying for all of these ads and paying for all of this product. The 12th time, they start to think that it must be a good product. The 13th time, they start to feel the product has value. The 14th time, they start to feel like they've wanted a product like this for a long time. The 15th time, they start to yearn for it because they can't afford to buy it. The 16th time, they accept the fact that they will buy it sometime in the future. The 17th time, they make a commitment to buy the product. The 18th time, they curse their poverty because they can't buy this terrific product. The 19th time, they count their money very carefully. And the 20th time a prospect sees the ad or photo, they buy what it is offering. And this guy wrote this back in 1885, it says. So, you know, that's how long ago, forever ago. And it's still, you know, advertising obviously wasn't what it is today, but even back then they knew that the more frequency equals the more effective. So that I thought just tied in really well to following up with people and how it's more effective if you contact them more frequently. So if you are a brand new consultant, don't wait to start following up with people until you're like, oh, well, they've only purchased from me one time. They've only purchased, you know, a couple times. I'm not going to follow up with them yet. Make sure you start those good habits off right away. The rule of 7 is a huge thing with marketing, and it's that someone has to see something again 7 times before they buy into it. And I just shared an example with my team the other day of someone that I have been following up with since she originally purchased in 2016. I have maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 messages to her since she first originally ordered, and she has never responded. Not one time has she ever responded to any of my messages. I actually think there was one time when I asked her if she got her product, and she said yes and that she was loving it, but that's it. She never responds to anything else. But just the other day I sent her a message, and within an hour of me texting her, she went and placed an order. So just because people are not responding and they're ghosting you does not mean that they're not looking at it. It doesn't mean that they're not reading it, that they're absorbing that information. So please don't think that just because someone is not responding to you and not answering, it does not mean that they don't see it. So I always say you want to go for that no. I will keep following up with people until they literally tell me to not message them anymore or say I'm not interested anymore. You want to go for that no, because every time that you hear a no, that means that you're going to be that much closer to a yes, if that makes sense. So keep following up. Just because they're not responding does not mean they're not listening or looking or seeing it. And again, following up, that's just if you're reaching out to someone personally, like if you're calling them, texting them, emailing them, those kinds of ways. If you're posting things on social media and things like that, remember it's going to take this, 7 times, 8 times, 12 times for someone to see something before they're going to buy into it. So I think that social media kind of ties into also following up. If you're posting things, following up isn't just about following up with people on product. It's also following up for joining. It's following up with just sharing products, because you have to think about too, you go about your day. If you're going to buy something, you go about your day and you forget that you were going to buy it, and then you're like, oh yeah, I did want that. So you have to think that that's what is happening to other people too. They just forget. People are forgetful. That's what happens. So you want to make sure that you're following up with them just to give them kind of that reminder to like, hey, I'm still here. I'm right here. And you want to make sure that they don't have the opportunity to go find someone else's name, that your name is always in the top of their head. If they do need something, they'll have your name in the back of their head saying, oh yeah, I do need light bulbs. Oh yeah, who was that girl that messaged me? So that's my little tidbit on why we should follow up. And then we're going to go and talk about the ways to follow up on the next slide. Awesome. Okay, so hopefully you guys like my little Willy Wonka thing down here. I thought that was pretty funny. So the ways that you can follow up, obviously you can follow up with just a paper and pen. I wouldn't recommend that, but some people that's better, that's easier for them. They like to write things down, and that's great. That's what I used to do, was a paper and binder, until the app came out, and the app totally changed everything. I know some people still do Excel sheets. I'm not an Excel person, so I am not going to be able to help you with that. But there's definitely like YouTube videos out there that you can go and find for binders, papers, Excel sheets on ways to follow up. I know some people use Streak in their Google. I think that's what it's called. That did not work for me. I've tried that, but those options are out there if that's something that you are interested in. So the app is what I recommend, obviously, to everyone. It is a game changer. It reminds you, so you don't even have to think about it, which is nice because it takes that, off your plate of trying to remember yourself to follow up with these people. And it will send you reminders every day. If you guys are not using this app already, then you need to be using this app. I highly, highly recommend it. It will remind you to send a thank you note. It will remind you to check in with the person to make sure they got their order. It will remind you to check in with them after it's been a while for their order. It will remind you 2 years if they haven't bought in 2 years. There's just so many different things that you can do with it that I think it is the perfect little method to help you with follow-ups. So I use the 222 method, and you guys, this is just how I do it. You can do it however you want. The 222 method is following up 2 days after they purchase to say thank you, 2 weeks after their purchase to make sure they got everything, that nothing's broken, that everything's okay. Some people might receive something and it might be broken or it might not be what they wanted, but they don't have any intentions to reach out unless you reach out to them. And then 2 months after is when I reach out again after that. And the 2-month point, I'm just checking in to see if they need restocked on bulbs or bars, or if we have a new product that came out, I want to make sure that I tell them about that and those kinds of things. And this is just a general guideline. This is not, you have to do it this way. This is the only way that works or anything like that. This is just how I do it. But I also, if we have, flash sales that come out, I will make sure that I send out an email to everyone in my workstation for that. If we have a new product that comes out that I think people might be excited about, I will send out an email for that. I also send out emails via MailChimp once a month to everyone in my workstation, everyone that's ordered from me before. And that's just a monthly thing that I do. You guys, you don't have to do it. I'm just giving you ideas for ways to follow up. So besides texting, calling, Facebook messaging, the regular emails, the apps, things like that, this is another option is the MailChimp emails. I do it once a month, tell them what's on special this month. I show them the warmer of the month, tell them if we're having any sales, different things like that. And I found that that is really helpful too. With MailChimp, if you guys have not ever tried that, you can see who has clicked on what buttons. If you put buttons in the emails, you can see how many people have opened it. You can see who's opened it. So I really like having that aspect so that I can then follow up with those people. If they do click on my join link but don't end up signing up, I can say, hey, were you interested in joining? Something along those lines. And then just a couple other things that I do. I don't know how long I've been talking. I have no idea. But just a couple other things that I do. And you guys, I did not do this the first 2 years of my business. I just started doing this the 3rd year. So this is just another idea. Again, you don't have to do it. It's just a suggestion, just an idea. But I send thank you cards for every single order that I get on my website. So every single order, they're going to get a scent circle from me. They're going to get a business card with all of my information on it. And then they also get a thank you card. And these are just postcards that I got printed from Vistaprint. And what I put on here is to tag me in a post, and then I'll give them something a little special with their next order, which I think has really helped expand my business as well with following up, because then they are sharing that with all of their friends. So you guys, this is again just an idea, but everybody gets a thank you card and a scent circle, and I stock up on scent circles during things like this, flash sales, parties, so that I can use the host rewards. So I'm not spending a bunch of money out of my own pocket to send these thank yous. And then these are also on Vistaprint. If you guys have not seen these little sample cards, so this is the, it's sample time again, and then don't let this be your last sample. Don't let this sample be your last. So I also do these, and what I do with these is I send out a sample of the month for to every person who has ordered for the last 3 months. So I'm getting ready to do the November scent of the month samples, and what I will do is include one of these postcards and say it's sample time again, and they'll get a monthly brochure, and then they'll get a sample of the November scent of the month. And they will get that. So let me think. If I'm sending them out this month, they would get one if they ordered in September, if they ordered in August, or if they ordered in July. And then if they ordered in July, I would say this is your last sample. If you want to keep getting free samples, you need to place an order. And this is also a really great way because I have a list of everyone that I send these to, and then that way I can follow up with them if it's their last sample, and I can say, hey, it's your last free sample this month. If you place another order, you'll keep getting the free samples. So that's just another way of following up, another method, another idea, because I think a lot of times people think that following up is just, you know, using the app, or it's just saying thank you, or it's just following up to make sure they don't need anything. But there's many other ways and options of following up, and it's not just about, hey, did you get everything? Hey, did you get this? Hey, thanks for your order. There's a ton of different ways to following up, a bunch of different ways out there, a bunch of different options that you can do it. Let me see, I think that was about all. Yeah, scent of the month, new scents. And also when you're following up, that's a really good time to, you know, say, hey, do you need some bulbs, or do you need another bar of this scent? You know, that's where it really comes into play, that you want to make sure you know your customers and that you're getting personal with them. And even just following up with them if you know something about their family or their kids, or if you know that they're struggling with something, just to ask them, just to check in and be a human being with them and not just a salesman, and not just seeing them as a number. I definitely noticed once I put more effort into getting to know my customers and learning more about them, that that's really when my follow-ups became a lot easier and didn't sound so salesy and so cold and just like a message that I was sending to everyone, because I would actually know something about them and be able to talk to them about that. Like, hey, how's your mom doing? Or, hey, how did, you know, he do at his soccer game? Or little things like that that really just make a big difference when you're following up with your customers. And I think that that really just helps them feel more comfortable buying the product. And yeah, I think that was all I was going to say. But without follow-ups, most customers would not reorder. You can follow up when you're putting in a bulk order for free shipping. Birthdays, that's a good opportunity to follow up with your customers. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. I think that was all that I had, though.